Look like I got white privilege, it's coming too easy. I'm in a Subaru Benz, but when it comes to the clan, only one of us bleeding. I'm in the woods where I'm black. Look like I made sacrifices, might cut off your hand. Niggas keep track of every down deuce, so a nigga, he live his life like a fan. We the ones that master the shit. You can feel all by yourself. Me and my brothers was raised by some queens, but we learned from the killers. You won't understand. Never hated, I come here.
When there's nobody around, I'll be there to take it then. What a true love really
Everybody, I want y'all to be with a great honor. Somebody I've known for a while now. He stopped by. A lot of people may know him by Corey. A lot of people may know him by CJ. Me and the boys, we know him by Nephew. So CJ, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Just give everybody your name, parents' name, school, a little intro to let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Corey Neal, CJ, Mr. Neal, whole list of things. My mama is Catherine, but Bucci Neal, and my dad is the late Corey Neal, and I'm named after him. I graduated from Williams in 2019, and then I went to Central and got my Bachelor's of Business Administration with a concentration in finance, and I'm actually back in school there now, getting my master's in public administration with the concentration in human resources. And I'm a high school teacher now.
Okay, cool. See, if you would, man, tell us basically who inspired you to go down the path that you're kind of doing now, going to college, getting into finance, everything that you're setting your path on. Who kind of inspired you to do all that?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this, trying to like figure out what the answer is and like shorten it down, but it kind of is like a long list of people. So like going to college, like my mom, I was just telling my sister this, I very vividly remember we were watching A Different World, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Hillman, like, you know, she was like, well, that's a fake school, but she started telling me about Central and like HBCUs. And so I guess like growing up, I kind of just figured I would go to college. Like I didn't really get a dream school per se until like high school, but I didn't go to Central. Like it was not my first choice school. Like I went on purpose, but it wasn't my first choice school. Like I didn't necessarily love it when I got there, but like I grew or learned, and like, you know, the experience taught me to love it. So like she really inspired the college aspect. And then finance, like I dibbled and dabbled in it and didn't 100% love it in the traditional aspect, but I had a teacher in high school named Mary Margaret Harris, and she actually taught what I teach now. Mm-hmm. And she was the vice president of like a bank for like 17 years or so, and came to teach, and get to know her and learn about her experiences, and being a part of the Academy of Finance at Williams. That is like what led me down the path to like business school. And then kind of just like holistically, Judge Larry Brown. So I met him when I was 12 in teen court. I used to volunteer there. And then I interned with him my senior year in high school, and like just a lot of different, like getting to know him and like lived experiences that we share and stuff. He is kind of just like my all around, like, you know, mentor, like role model type of figure. And like probably could just keep going on with like different, like, you know, people that impacted my life, but all three of them is like, you know, what really inspired me. Like I knew I just wanted to be an impact. Like I didn't necessarily, and I still don't really have like one specific job title that I see as like my dream career, but I just know I want to be impactful. And those three were really the ones that came to mind when I first started thinking about it.
Okay, cool. So see, I want to bring up something that a lot of people didn't know about, and I know you were on the first annual AT&T Dreaming While Black. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about that whole process? How you guys were selected, it being the first annual, how you feel about it, and basically, you know, any of the people that you met, and tell us just the whole complete process on how you guys were collected.
Yeah, so AT&T, I guess like the year before, so this would have been 2020, they started the Dream in Black initiative, and then the Rising Future Makers is what I was a part of. And I had learned about it, I think my uncle's wife had sent it to me, and then I heard it on the radio. And by the time I finally looked it up, like the deadline was like a week later or so. So I had just did a campus tour, and I went back in my room and I just like recorded like a basic, very basic video, just talking about like things that I had done and like the community outreach that I wanted to start doing and stuff like that. Because it was kind of like a public service acknowledgement, like, and then some people wanted to get into media. So like we submitted the videos on either TikTok or Instagram. They DM'd me one day while I was doing a campus tour, and then like I was messaging back and forth for like the AT&T official page on TikTok. And like, you know, I got my contract and my NDA and stuff, and I was actually here like getting my haircut, and like, you know, you were like, you know, what's the plans for the weekend? I was like, I got, you know, something like just to go to or whatever. And so it was in Greensboro, and we got like a prize box with like our checks and medallions and phones and stuff, like just different prizes that we won. But then like the bulk of it was really just like recording content for them, since that was the first time they did it. And it was HBCU students all across the country that could apply. 25 were selected, so like a 1% acceptance rate or so. And then we were just around Greensboro, like all the historical sites, so like the stuff that you hear about from the civil rights movement. So like North Carolina A&T, the Civil Rights Museum, forget the other place that we went to, making content for them. And then throughout the weekend, I got interviewed by like, you know, different AT&T execs, got to meet them, and a lot of stuff took place leading up to it too. But then I don't know how, but it was like 6 of us that were selected to do like the blue red carpet, like to match the AT&T brand. And I got interviewed by Lala Anthony about like, you know, my community outreach and what it was that I was aspiring to do and things like that. And that was pretty cool because like I think that's when like she had first got on Power or so, and so like she was like the talk of everybody. And business administration with a concentration in financial analysis.
All right, so we have some people coming in. So what advice would you share to someone who's watching on what advocacy has done for you and how they can get it?
It's honestly what you said last weekend in our meet and greet about patience being a virtue. It's something that I say all the time, but when you hear it being told to yourself, it kind of resonates differently. And like for me, it's like, you know, sit back, let God work, because there's so many things that, you know, we want to see, we want to accomplish. But when you accept that patience is a virtue, it just allow you to be a little bit more calm and relaxed as you're going on your journey.
See, patience is a virtue. You gotta take your time with this thing. You gotta slow walk this.
Then like, you know, once everybody from home started seeing it, because like I guess like I'm overly humble and like just doing everything that was on the agenda too. I wasn't thinking much about it, but like I know everybody was like, bro, like you with Lala Anthony, like she interviewing you. And like I was like, yeah, like, and so that was pretty cool. And then all the people though, like the 25 students, like hands down, like a great group of people. Like AT&T couldn't have done a better job like the first time. And like the things that those people are doing now, like working on presidential campaigns, SGA president, professors, teachers, law school candidates, med school candidates, some are still in undergrad, and like the community that we formed from it, like that was like when I really, like I'd always value like friendship and my family and stuff like that, but that's when I understood like the value and like the impact that community really, and having like-minded and the right type of people and a diverse group of people. And like, sure, we were all like, you know, we all identify as Black, but it was more than just like, you know, our Blackness of like what enhanced the conversations that we were able to have with each other, and the impact, like the inspiration that we still keep in touch to this day. So like that was in 2021, 2022, something like that. And like we still keep in touch like on a regular basis to this day. Like great community, like that's what I learned, like this value and community from that. And that was probably like my favorite part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought that was always pretty dope. I know me and you talked about it being the first annual, and this will be something that you'll be able to look back at, you know, when they do the 25-year anniversary, the 50-year anniversary. You guys will be that very first picture that they put together from the HBCUs for AT&T, and basically you're gonna be submitted in history as being that first candidate for all of that. So I thought that was pretty dope, man. Pretty cool.
That's crazy.
I think basically nothing short of what we always thought you could be, man. Like you said, something like that. When we seen you with Lala up there talking and stuff, we all screenshotted it, messaged her.
Yeah, my phone was
her.
blowing up.
Right.
Like everybody was like, "You the talk of the town." I was like, "Well, I don't really know why, but thank you." Like, and I still haven't like fully like processed and like comprehended it because like it was like almost like a fever dream. Like, did that really happen?
Right.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That was pretty dope. See, let everybody know about your internship that you experienced while being at Central. I know you had one with JP Morgan.
Yeah.
If you had any more, just let us know how was it, your experience with it, and letting the young people know what goes into being in that internship.
Yeah, so I did 4 technically, like 3 off campus during the summer and then 1 on campus for a whole school year.
Mm-hmm.
And so my summer going into my junior year, I was at Spectrum in the accounting and tax department. My summer going into my senior year, I was at JP Morgan in their Charlotte office. And then after I graduated, I did another one at Deloitte. That's an accounting firm, one of the top accounting firms. And then my senior year, I did one in the Career and Professional Development Center. So like internship, for anybody that don't know, is like you are essentially like a contract employee. Like you work full-time hours, but it's only for an extended amount of time. Me personally, I tell anybody this is do not work an unpaid internship. My boss at my Spectrum internship told me that, and she was like, that just means those people don't value you. Because like you're supposed to be there either doing the real work or like gaining some type of experience and knowledge where eventually you will be able to be a qualified employee there. And I all of them were very different, and I liked and disliked each of them for something different. But at least like I feel like when you do an internship, it's valuable experience because like hopefully it's at a reputable brand, and then you're doing what those people do on a day-to-day basis, or either being trained by them to do that. And you're making a nice little bit of money while doing it. And then also it's like, well, if you get a full-time job after you graduate and you realize you hate it, like you've wasted really a lot of time and like effort applying, interviewing, money going to college. So at least while you're there, you get to figure out what it is that I do and don't like. So with all the financial services firms, I realized I don't want to work in financial services full-time. And like my business degree, like that'll take me anywhere. But at least I didn't go spend X amount of time at one of these firms or these companies and being miserable, because like that's just something that like I'm not and I knew I wasn't willing to do while I was in undergrad, and especially in financial services. So like I'll talk about those because like that's what I was in college to do. Going back to like me being in the Academy of Finance at Williams, you get paid like pretty good to be an intern. So like Spectrum at that time, I was making like $20 an hour, but that was before everything spiked. So that was like right before inflation. So like that was a lot of money at the time.
Right.
But then JP Morgan, like I'm fine telling people this now because like it's over. 3 years ago, I made a little over $40,000 in 10 weeks at JP Morgan. And like I said, I was doing what those people would do on a regular basis. So I was getting the training, going through the spreadsheets, in the office, traveling, different, company events, stuff like that. And I was 20 years old, 21 years old doing it, and made more in 8 weeks than what I do now in a whole year. And to me, that's a win because like I learned that I didn't like it. So at least I didn't go and end up having, because you get contracted. So like you get a sign-on bonus and things like that, all the great perks. But it's stipulations to that. Like you got to work for the company for a certain amount of time, or you have to pay back $20,000. So yeah, but so those, it taught me a lot. And then my internship that I did in the Career Center at Central my senior year, that's what kind of really has me on the path that I'm on right now, because I was working like on professional development with mostly freshmen, and like finding them internships and part-time jobs, resume reviews. And I just really got reminded of like how much I like working with people. Like spreadsheets are great, it pays great, but it's not something that I was willing to do.
Yeah.
And like, you definitely got to have, a good GPA, good resume, and you got to be willing to be receptive to feedback. So like if you're sensitive, like it don't matter what industry, financial services, education, whatever, healthcare, any industry where you go to do an internship or like a job shadow, one, you have to accept, nothing. Like there's nothing that you are really adding to these people. because they have multiple degrees or at least one, and you really have to be open and receptive to feedback and seeking it out. And like that's kind of just like a versatile life skill that I learned at that point, like whether it's professionally, academically, or personally. If I'm messing up or like not doing something right, or I could be doing it better at least, or somebody that's more experienced, seek that information in, like be a sponge. Like I think that's what made my first year teaching so good, because like I was really a sponge, like the whole school year really, but the first couple of weeks took in everything that anybody had to offer to me. And you have to be discerning enough to interpret it how you would for yourself. But like my internships, they taught me what I did and didn't want to do, and then like real versatile skills of like you have to be open to feedback, like you have to be.
That's pretty dope, man. See, before you leave, man, tell me what you think in the next 5 to 10 years, what your career path will be, what you're planning on doing, what are your ideas and goals for yourself?
That's a good question. I'm really having fun with education right now. So like, the possibilities of like moving into different positions with that, very vaguely in the back of my mind, getting my administrative license and becoming, like within 5 years, I could possibly be like on the path to becoming an assistant principal. I think that would be enough experience like in the classroom to be able to help teachers and stuff. So, like maybe being an assistant principal or something within education and working with students.
Okay, cool. See, if you would, man, tell us basically in your words, if you had to tell the younger generation, even your younger self, what are things you could have done to get ahead a little bit further, put you in the track a little bit further along, put you in a game where you think that, okay, I wouldn't have wasted no steps. I could have done this a lot sooner. What are those hidden nuggets you wish somebody would have told you?
Like, I feel like it's 3 things that come to mind, but I don't feel like I necessarily wasted any time. Cause like, one, like just calm down, like be patient. Right now, we live in like the social media area where like, social media can manipulate your mind because you only see the 1%. And so like, it has you feeling like, well, if I'm not successful by 21, then I just won't be. Like, I won't get wherever it is that I'm trying to go. And there's so many people, like Steve Harvey is kind of like a role model of mine. And like, he was 40, 50 years old before he got his big break. And like so many other like influential people, whether they, well known or not, it wasn't until like their middle age years where they got to the point, I think, where they really desired to be. But like, I feel like thus far, like, God has like really ordered my steps, and like I've done everything. It was with a purpose or like an intention. And like, once you just calm down and be patient, like I think you start to understand that a little bit more. 2, like just develop like your skill sets, like, because I feel like that's where the workforce is moving now. Like, with millennials and Gen Z, I think we talked about it one time, like our parents would go work at the same place for 30, 40 years and retire. Right. That's not necessarily what people are doing anymore, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But like the skill set and the transferable skills is what's gonna make you, make your career more so. Like, so develop those, like whatever it is that you feel like you're interested in, dive more into it. Like, because once you learn what you like and what you dislike, like I tell my students, throw it out the window. But what you like, that's what you want to start working on and developing those skills, learning more about them, and like, how can they apply in any area that you might be interested in professionally. Because, the reality is everybody won't be rich and famous. Everybody won't be an athlete and, top athlete. But you can do something to where like you impact yourself, a community, a person on a day-to-day basis. But like you gotta have, the skill set has to be there. And then just have fun. Like I'm realizing that now, like, because I go to work every day and I feel like I have fun, whether it's like the clothes I get to wear, the students I get to interact with, my coworkers, whatever it is, it's just really fulfilling to me. And like everybody is gonna have something to say. You're gonna get a whole lot of advice. And like I feel like that's never gonna stop. But you have to know what it is that you like and what fulfills you, and be able to have fun. And, of course, like as cliche as it sounds, like you literally have to keep God first. Because like, again, like I said, like I feel like my steps have been ordered, and like something that I have always prayed about is discernment and making sure that, when people say God spoke to me, like it's not going to be like a movie. I think that was something we talked about before too. Yeah. But like when you keep God first, and like, I don't feel like anything has been a waste of time, because like I didn't go into finance. I majored in it. I did all my internships in finance. I feel like I'm still doing great in the job that I have right now and developing my career. But because, again, like I prayed about it, I had discernment about it, all of that happened for a reason. Like those skill sets, the people that I met, the opportunities, the money, whatever, it happened for whatever reason that it was supposed to. But if I didn't have the relationship with Christ that I did, it would feel like a waste of time. But like, you know, I have to know that he put me in those positions for a reason.
Right. That's good to hear, man. I think everybody out there needed to hear that special line that you put in there about keeping God first. I think a lot of young people, not a lot, but a few young people don't really put that in perspective. They just feel as if that certain jobs that you get supposed to be given to you, certain jobs that you may come across, that's the job that I'm supposed to have. Sometimes that you have to do things that necessarily you don't want to do to learn things that you didn't know you
Yeah, like you didn't know you needed to be in that place. Because like, I mean, teaching had been in the back of my mind, like I said, like different mentors and role models, things like that. But like I obviously did not go to college to become a teacher, but I have developed more as a person, as a man, as an employee in my 1 year of education than anything that I've ever done before. Because, and like, you know, that's not to say for somebody else teaching will be that, but it's something that they'll do where like you develop, and like the character development is what makes everything. Because if you aren't a good person or you don't like who you are, you won't be a good employee, you won't be a good athlete. Right. Like you have to like who you are, and overall you just got to be a good person, and good is subjective. But like, you know, you have to take everything for is we love to say everything happens for a reason. Okay, so like why is it? Like what is the good out of this? If you know, if you can find any, what is the good out of it, and how is it developing you? Because like you said, like you might not want to be there, or like you might not feel like that's necessary, but like the character development, like my gap year turned into a whole complete career change. Yeah. Because I saw the way that it was like molding me into really who it was that I had always been praying and desired to be.
I dig that, man. Well, that's glad to hear, man. And like you said, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Words of wisdom for everybody. Anybody out there that's listening, take heed. CJ is a prime example of somebody that worked hard, didn't listen to what people say. People probably told him to choose another career, go another path, go another school, but he done it his way. And he understands that a lot of the things that he's done, internships, he probably could have had better ones, but the stuff that he did, school that he's teaching, the kids that he's teaching, all that is playing a big part in the man that's being molded for his bigger career and bigger calling later on. Bro, so, appreciate you, man. Appreciate and it. I'll see you next go round, bro.
Yes, sir.
You good?
Really?
Yep, you good.
I appreciate it. I'll consider a donation to my class.
Okay.
Break something like, hey, my barber paid for it.
I appreciate it, C.